What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video I am using by far the best Halloween Cup team that I've used yet. It got me an 11 game win streak, which we're going to see today, and we're also going to see the team that was able to put me down and stop this unbelievable run that I had. It's a very fun team, and a team that actually is very similar to the first one that I ran for this cup. It is going to be Greninja, Wormadam, Trash Cloak, and Fortress. The team that I did before had Wallet instead of Wormadam, Trash Cloak, and honestly, the Wormadam is incredible in this meta. If you got to think about all of those poison types out there that get farmed down from Confusion, you have the Bug Buzz for all the dark type Pokemon like Guzzlord, Umbreon, Zweilous. You also have Iron Head for any of the ice types like Frostlass and Alolan Ninetales. It is just, and Carbink out there as well. Does not like the Iron Head. It is incredibly strong. And it's also 4 times Stardust for the next week. This is the second week of Halloween Cup. And we have 4 times Stardust. So give this team a try. And also, this team can obviously be hard countered. But it's playing to the fact that there aren't a lot of fire-type Pokemon in the meta. Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Greninja versus Toxapex here on the lead. Now, this matchup isn't too bad when you have a lot of energy. So I'm going to go ahead and swap out, but it's kind of rough because of the fast move damage that you take. Now, a Skeledirge does swap in right here, and I will be able to get to the Earthquake in time. This is huge. Hopefully I can get a shield from my opponent, but they decide to no shield, and I can't farm down, unfortunately. So I got to come back in with Greninja. I will have to shield as well because they do have access to Disarming Voice. And now things get a bit dicey as I'm forced to shield right here. We're going to see the Toxapex come back in. And I have to make a call in this situation that they're going to go for Brine and try to shield bait me and not go for Sludge Wave. If I shield Brine, it's definitely probably going to be over. So I no shield, and it was a Sludge Wave. Boom! I go down. Wormadam comes in. But their final Pokemon is a Shadow Victory Bell. So this is looking to be a good game as I can safely farm down. Wormadam Trash Cloak here resists everything from the Victory Bell. So we're just going to go ahead and have a good old time right now as I will look to go for Iron Heads. Now, the Toxapex over there does have 2 shields remaining. But confusion damage really starts to add up, as you guys are seeing. So I should be able to win this by going for the back-to-back Iron Heads here soon. But yeah, this team today, we face a lot of bad lead matchups. I'm talking Shadow Victory Bell. You got Guzzlord and Zweilous and all kinds of craziness today that we overcome with this team. So it's very, very strong. Again, it's basically the same team that I ran at the very beginning. I've just had a lot of success with Wormadam Trash Cloak, so I'm like, you know what, let me throw it back on my original team that I ran, and it performed extremely well. So good game, very well played. Alright, moving into the next one, we have Greninja versus Dragalge. So this is interesting. I want you guys to pay attention. My opponent swaps out of a matchup that is actually good for them because of the Dragon Tail, and they swap into a Charmer. You and I are both kind of thinking the same thing here. It's very likely that they have 2 Charmers in the back, because you got to think about the matchup with Dragalge there. They're only taking neutral damage from Night Slash. Dragon Tail absolutely shreds. And the only reason why you would do this kind of swap is to draw out the potential only steel or poison type Pokemon from the opponent's team so that your other Charmer can win, right? You wouldn't safe swap a Wigglytuff other than that reason. So we're going to play to that. And what I'm going to look to do here is obviously go for the Earthquake. This is huge on the back end against Dragalge, as it will be doing super effective damage, as it does force a shield. And I'm going to go ahead and swap now into Wormadam Trash Cloak to get ahead on energy. And I will look to no shield this first charge move. Now, I'm reading that it could be a Charmer in the back, so I will give up a shield on this next Aqua Tail. But having the 1-to-1s right here with our steel typing, I think is going to be okay, especially since we have an Iron Head ready to go. And they decide to stay in, which allows us to fully farm down. So let's see what's in the back. It was another Charmer, a Shadow Granbull. So we're going to go ahead and look to go for Iron Head right here. This gets the final shield and the second one. You wouldn't think you'd be booming from a Wormadam Trash Cloak, but it's going to be booming today, I'll tell you that. Here we go. Boom! See ya, Granbull, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, moving into the next one. We have Greninja versus Azumarill. So, not the best of leads when it comes to typings, but honestly, Azumarill is not that bad to deal with when you have the energy management. So we're going to go ahead and swap trying to catch the Play Rough, and unfortunately we don't get it. So they're going to go ahead and throw the charge move here, and it is in fact a Hydro Pump. So that's a lot of damage, and they come in with the GOAT, Alolan Marowak, as we can get to a Mirror Shot right here at the last second, which is going to be some nice chip damage, but ultimately it's not going to do a lot. Greninja now does have energy, and the Alolan Marowak does not have a charge move ready, so I can safely look to go for the Hydro Cannon right away to one-shot the Alolan Marowak. You hate to see it, but boom! See ya! As the Azumarill is now going to come back in. Now, we've basically reset this match, but I'm one full charge move ahead. So, because they went for Hydro Pump, right, against the Frostlass, or not the Frostlass, the Fortress. We see a Frostlass later. Maybe not in this battle, but in another battle. But the Hydro Cannons here on Greninja do quite a bit of resisted damage. And all I need to do is safely shield the Play Rough, right? The bubbles don't do that much damage to us. And we're looking very good. So I'm going to go ahead and look to go for one more Hydro Cannon. And then I'm going to bail to try to catch the charge move here, because they are at 6. So I'm going to go ahead and swap, and we do catch it, which is perfect. This is going to be that Play Rough, and this is looking very good. Here's the Frostlass that I was talking about earlier, because it's going to be coming in. And now we have a win con opportunity in front of us. The Azumarill is out of energy. The Frostlass here shields the Iron Head, and our Greninja has multiple charge moves ready to go and a lot of energy. So we're going to save our shield for that. They do get the Shadow Ball off, which is fine, but Powder Snow cannot farm us down. So I'm actually going to be able to get to this Iron Head right here. This is beautiful. This is going to be doing quite a bit of damage as Wormadam takes out the final shield now from Frostlass. And now we can go for this Night Slash here. And this is going to be taking out Frostlass. Azumarill, again, out of energy and extremely low. So we're going to be able to fast move down, and as they surrender, so that's going to be a good game. All right, Greninja versus Carbink. This is a pretty good matchup on the lead. They swap into Golbat, so we're going to go ahead and swap into the Wormadam Trash Cloak right here, as Confusion just does so much damage. Now, I decide to shield the potential Shadow Ball, which it was, and hoping that I can actually farm down, but I don't think I will be able to, so I go ahead and go for Iron Head right here. If they want to go for another Shadow Ball, so be it, but I want to try to get a shield and maintain switch, because I know, well, they have a Greninja coming back in right here. I thought Carbink might have come back in, because I know I can get the Iron Head damage off, right? But in this situation as well, we're looking okay, because we can go for the Bug Buzz here, as this will do super effective damage. Now, odds are this gets the first shield of the game. Otherwise, boom! One-shots. They weren't expecting that, so I instantly swap back into my Greninja right here. Had they shielded that right, we just come in with Fortress, and we spin to win, and we close this game out with Greninja. But we're going to be able to get off multiple Hydro Cannons right here. I will give up my final shield, because I should be able to get a lot of mileage out of Greninja right now, because Carbink can't get to Rock Slides very quickly. So we can at least land one Hydro Cannon. Obviously, they have one shield remaining, so we throw two since we have the back-to-back. So at a minimum, we get the Carbink very, very low so that Fortress can close it out, which is going to be perfectly fine. So We land this Hydro Cannon, and we don't, unfortunately, get to the next charge move, but that's okay. Fortress can come in. That's going to be a good game, very well played, as the Rock Slides here doesn't do enough damage. So, good one right there. All right. Moving into the next battle, we have Greninja versus Wormadam Trash Cloak. Okay. So we have some good energy gain, but they actually swap out into Dragalge. Now, if your opponent swaps into a poison type like this with Confusion, or that is weak to Confusion, you got to get that Wormadam in there right away. The only way I would consider bringing in the Fortress potentially is if it has a really good matchup and you're reading there might be Toxicroak in the back. So like a Toxapex, for example, could be an interesting Pokemon read come in because you have Earthquake, right? So they're going to go ahead and come back in with Wormadam. We're going to be able to get off one Bug Buzz here and hopefully two, but I actually don't think I'll make it in time, so I might just pull off. Yeah, I'm going to pull off and go ahead and go for the Iron Head. Just get as much chip damage down as possible, and then we'll have to see how this end game plays out. Now, I come in with Greninja right away, and they do bring in Zweilous, so I'm going to go ahead and swap into Fortress after loading up some energy. And Bug Bite right here, this is what's beautiful about the Fortress, the spin to win, is Bug Bite shreds apart the Dark-type Pokemon in this meta, which are pretty common. Zweilous, Guzzlord, Umbreon, Greninja, those four just take a lot of damage from this fast move. And you can get shield pressure down as well with Mirror Shot. So we're going to be able to get a second one off. Unfortunately, not before they get to the charge move. So I will look to shield. It is just going to be Body Slam, but that's okay because I want to try to completely farm down, which I do. Now we will see the Wormadam Trash Cloak come back in. We have the Earthquake ready to go. Fortress, I think it's widely slept on. It's an incredible safe swap in this meta. And then we can swap back in Greninja to close this one out. But yeah, this team puts in some work. Greninja, you guys know how good that is. Wormadam locks down the poisons. And Fortress, fantastic safe swap. All right, we got Golbat here on the lead. In these matchups, what I like to do is go for the Hydro Cannon and then bail into Fortress. And the reason is they have the Poison Fang ready to go. So they're instantly trying to click most cases, right? Not all trainers will do that, which you can catch. You can get a shield with Hydro Cannon. And you can catch the charge move there on Fortress as they do bring in an Umbreon. Now, this Umbreon is kind of in a tough position. I mean, it is extremely tanky, right? So Foul Play is going to do a lot because of the Poison Fang debuffs. But it's in a tough position because we can shred with Earthquake and Bug Bite. So I'm actually going to be able to get this Pokemon extremely low. And maybe not extremely, but low enough where Greninja could come back in and kind of take care of it as we get farmed down. Now, Greninja right here, remember we had that Golbat on the lead that's out of energy, so Greninja is going to go ahead and come in, and I'm going to look to go one more over and go for the Hydro Cannon here, so we get that CMP tie, and we're also ahead of on energy versus the Golbat that might be coming back in, so let's see if it does. If it does, we're just going to go ahead and just throw a charge move and bail again. But it's actually going to be a Azumarill in the back. So we're going to bank a charge move, swap into Wormadam, and they decide to come in with Golbat. So they're kind of in a tough position because Wormadam can do well against both of their backline, right? Their core broken right here by the Wormadam as we go ahead and no-shield the Poison Fang. And now we can just farm down. This is totally fine with me. This is just going to be another Poison Fang as well because we have track on their energy. And then we have multiple Iron Heads ready to go here for the Azumarill, and we can safely save shields for Greninja. You guys saw what it did earlier against Azumarill because Azumarill doesn't have fast move pressure against it. The only fast move it runs is Bubble. Rock Smash I know is available, but it's a terrible move, and I don't think it'll ever be updated. Otherwise, we get some crazy shenanigans going on with the with a lot of Pokemon. So we're going to see the Ice Beam land. Greninja now in a safe 2-to-1 shield advantage. We're looking good. We can just go ahead and just go for Hydro Cannons really to take out the Azumarill. And this is why Azumarill it's a counter to Greninja, but only if it's a head-on shields. Otherwise, in these kinds of situations, it's just going to get overrun by the spam, and this is why Greninja can be so flexible and so good if you keep it away from fast move pressure like Razor Leaf or Counter or Charm, right? Which you do see in this meta, but overall, and that's why we have the backline that we have in order to counter that, so good game. All right, moving to the next one, we have Umbreon here on the lead, so pretty decent matchup. They do decide to swap into Toxapex, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in the Wormadam. This is a situation where you could bring in that Fortress because there could very well be a Toxicroak in the back based on this team setup. It might not be, right? The odds are it is going to be another Poison. Just looking at the setup, you have a Dark Lead, you got a safe swap Poison that is pretty tanky. Odds are there's another Poison in the back, so Wormadam could be hidden back there, and the Fortress there can get a lot of shield pressure with Earthquake. So what we're going to do here is just going to go ahead and go for an Iron Head, and then hope that we can actually farm down. I might have to give up a shield as well on the Brine, and then have some Bug Buzzes ready to go for that Umbreon, which is very nice to have on the back end right here because it will be doing quite a bit of super effective damage. It's about 50% actually, which is huge considering how tanky Umbreon is. So we go ahead and go for the Bug Buzz, and then we counter swap into Fortress because I thought there might be a Toxicroak in the back, and obviously I want to get it onto the field, get it away from Greninja, and leave Wormadam healthy so that it could farm down, because even at Wormadam's health, you guys can see there, it's in the red, Confusion will take down a Toxicroak, but it wasn't. It was a Galvantula in the back, so what we're going to do here is just keep going for mirror shots, and hopefully Greninja can close this one out for us, as we do have the shield advantage now, as it is the 1-0 now. They do get a good farm down, but my Wormadam is very close to a charge move, so I will be able to get to Iron Head. They got a bit greedy right there. I think they kind of lost track of how much energy I did have, but thankfully we take it out. We swap back into Greninja for this Umbreon matchup, and that is going to be a good game as we can safely go for the double Hydro Cannons. One might just be enough to KO. But ultimately, like you guys saw there, it's barely not enough. We can go for back-to-back. But like you guys saw there, the Toxapex safe swap, I brought in Wormadam, but then started to consider, you know what, there might be a Toxicroak. I need to counter swap into Fortress to see if I can draw it out, right? So good game. All right, moving to the next one, we have Greninja versus Victory Bell. Here we go. This is the bad news bears situation. We got to swap into Fortress right away, and they're not swapping out. Like, this is interesting. They're staying in with a Shadow Victory Bell into a Fortress, which heavily resists the fast and charge moves, and they have Tyranitar in the back. So this is clearly a dominant Shadow fast move team, and thankfully Fortress right here is going to be able to get to potentially 3 Mirror Shots while we're still doing a ton of damage with Bug Bite. So Mirror Shot gets shield number 2, and we are able to get to Mirror Shot number 3. So Fortress able to shred down the Victory Bell, able to boom the Tyranitar and put it back to the Stone Ages. And final Pokemon, ladies and gentlemen, battlers of all ages, Shadow Charm Gardevoir. Oof! This team obviously is here to delete Greninjas, but this is why I have the double steel backline that I do. I'm also overloading on energy, knowing that they'll try to potentially swap into Victory Bell, so we're just going to go ahead and just overload. We basically have 2 Iron Heads right here. This is going to do super effective damage and take out the Gardevoir, and then the Victory Bell, unfortunately, in the back is also going to get deleted right here as we fast move down, so that is going to be a good game. Very well played. Alright, moving to the next one. We have Greninja versus Obstagoon. Bad lead. We're going to go ahead and swap out into Fortress, get ahead on energy, and they bring in a Golbat. Now, this is one of those matchups where the Rock Tomb is really nice if you have it. But Mirror Shot does great as well in this meta and actually does quite a bit of neutral damage. Now, this Golbat here, I think, is opting to go for Poison Fangs instead of the Shadow Ball, which is going to give me some opportunity, especially if I get the Mirror Shot debuff. Fortress is something you really don't want to sleep on in these kinds of situations. As you will see, we get this Golbat extremely low. We get the attack drop as well. And what you're about to see is the power of Fortress. Because of its typing right here and its bulk, we get to another mirror shot. So the Golbat now is forced to shield. Otherwise, we take switch. So they force the shield, and now we have shield advantage. Now, unfortunately here, Greninja is going to get hit with a pretty hard-hitting Poison Fang, but I'm fine with letting it go, as it's not enough to KO. I will swap out right away, and their final Pokemon was Nidoqueen. So, once again, a dark lead. So, before it was Umbreon. Now, they didn't have Toxic Coat, they had Galvantula, right? A dark lead with a double poison backline. That is very common, and this is why Wormadam Trash Cloak is so deadly, because you just delete all of the poison types with your fast move. You have Bug Buzz on the back end, and we're just going to go ahead and give up the shields right there. I have 100 energy, so this not Umbreon, Obstagoon here, unfortunately, is going to feel the wrath of the Boom Cloak. That's what this Wormadam should be changed to. It's now officially a Boom Cloak form, as in this meta, it is just way too strong. So we're going to go ahead and go for the Bug Buzz here, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. Didn't even need Greninja because of the setup that we had there. Boom! One-shots the Obstagoon. Alright. Moving into the next one, we have Greninja on the lead versus Alolan Ninetales. Alright, now I don't want to find out if this thing has Charm, so I'm going to swap out right away, but I actually over-tapped right there and got some good information that it was Powder Snow. Obviously, I'm fearing the Charm, so I could have stayed in. I mean, I swapped anyways, but I saw that it was Powder Snow, so I could have stayed into that matchup because it actually is a bit more favorable to us. But ultimately, we draw out a Poison type here with Toxapex. So, I wouldn't be surprised if there's obviously double poison in the back. Now we get the shield with Earthquake, but this is the thing about Fortress. It is it's tanky enough to survive these brines and poison jabs that I can potentially get to 2 Earthquakes here. Let's see if we can get it. It's going to be close. We do get to it in time. Now, they might commit 2 shields, and if they do, they're going to be in a lot of trouble, which they do commit 2 shields, because now I counter swap into Wormadam to farm down, and they bring in a Greninja. So, they were definitely core broken, right? If you think about what we have here, we have Confusion on the Toxapex with our resistances, we have Bug Buzz on the Greninja, and we have Iron Head on the Alolan Ninetales. So that is going to be a good game. Boom! Down goes the Greninja. Toxapex is going to be coming back in. It's still alive. Obviously, Alolan Ninetales does not want to see this thing. But my Greninja with the 2-0 shields can obviously take that right here. But this is just a showcase of how strong Wormadam Trash Cloak can be, or has been for me, with how many poison backlines there have been in this meta. As we can safely let this brine go through. I'm going to go ahead and swap into Greninja to draw out the Alolan Ninetales, as I can go ahead and go for Hydro Cannons here. And I only need to worry about Dazzling Gleam, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go for 1 Hydro Cannon. Now this was a bit quick. Obviously, I think this might just be a Weather Ball, but I shield it anyways, just in case I was confused on the energy, because I have my win condition in front of me, as they do have actually quite a bit of energy. So this is just going to be another Weather Ball, which is fine. And we can go ahead and overload just a little bit, as I can go for back-to-back Night Slashes now. This is going to be resisted, but Alolan Ninetales is low enough where Night Slash can take it out. And then we have one ready to go for the Toxapex here. And we still have Fortress. We still have Wormadam Boom Cloak with Confusion, but Greninja's going to take that. And that is going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, moving to the next one. Greninja versus Greninja here on the lead. So this is kind of one of those tough matchups where someone has to decide who's keeping their Greninja alive and who's letting it go. So I decided to go for Hydro Cannon here. They no shield, so I'm going to swap out right away into Fortress. I want to keep my Greninja alive because it has done very well for me. I have no clue what their backline is or could be, but as you can see right here, their Greninja now gets pretty low. So I'm going to let this go. I think this is just a Night Slash, which it is, which we can survive. And we take it out. Okay, Greninja's gone. Cool. What's going to come in? Toxicroak. Okay, so now we have switch advantage. And you might be thinking, well, hold on, you don't have switch advantage. Well, technically, if I wait this clock out, I think we're going to have switch clock coming back up, so I can bring in Wormadam right here. Yeah, switch clock coming back up very soon. Toxicroak, looking to be in a lot of trouble. They've stayed in, which tells me there might be another poison in the back, so we're going to go ahead and no-shield the Mud Bomb. Final Pokemon is, in fact, a Toxapex, so there you go. Double poison backline once again. And Wormadam is going to be able to take this one. There's still the Toxicroak to deal with, so I got to bring the Greninja onto the field to keep my Wormadam healthy, so that it can handle, so it can just confusion down the end of this game, right? And in these situations, I want to try to do as much damage with Night Slash as possible, so I will give up a shield here, even if it is a Brine. Just because the combination of the Poison Jab Fast Move plus the resisted Brines will add up, and I really just need to get this Toxapex as low as possible so that Confusion can win this game for me. Now, I'm going to no-shield here. Obviously, I got to save a shield for Wormadam, and they might be swapping into Toxicroak, which they did right there, actually. The word popped up. I went for the Night Slash right away, as we do take it out, and now we counter swap. We did get a boost on the Greninja, but we sadly don't get to utilize it, as we can just confusion down, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. All right, final battle. Charge Bug. This is the team that beat me. We go ahead and swap into Fortress. They're staying in. I'm like, okay, sweet. They are core broken. They swap in Toxicroak. So that is a huge opportunity for us now, because now they know they have to fear the Earthquake. So I go ahead and go for the Mirror Shot. We get the Shield Bait. That is huge. And the Attack Drop. This is going to allow me to survive this Mud Bomb right here. And the extra counter that they will get through. And it'll actually allow me to get to this Earthquake, which is huge. Absolutely huge right here. Because this Earthquake, boom, takes out the Toxicroak. Now, Charjabug comes back in. And this is the tough thing. This is what I want you guys to notice. It was Charjabug and Toxicroak. That's already 2 out of 3 hard counters to Greninja. Pokemon number 3. It's going to be up to Wormadam to close this game. I have to give up a shield here, as we are going to be in the ones now. And the final Pokemon we will see, I'm going to go ahead and overload a bit. I decide to go for Bug Buzz, hoping this will just do a bit extra. But we do get a shield there. I could have easily gone for Iron Head and gotten that shield, so that's a slight misplay on me. I will give up my final shield here, because now I'm thinking, okay, they have another poison in the back. This will be fine. I can go ahead and commit to the farm down, but they get to another charge move. I'm like, what is that final Pokemon? I'm hoping it's like Golbat or something that Greninja can take out. And the final Pokemon is not. It is an Azumarill. And this is what I was saying earlier. Azumarill is easy for Greninja to handle when it has shields. When it doesn't, you have to pray they have Ice Beam, Hydro Pump, and not Play Rough, because otherwise Greninja is going to go down. So this is 3 Pokemon, boom, that take out my Greninja. My Greninja had no play in that game whatsoever. And that is going to be a good game, very well played. And that was the final battle. This was a beautiful and very fun 11-0 streak that I had with this team. Again, it's incredibly strong, and as you guys see, with so many poisons that have been in the meta, and a lot of people run it, right? This backline can really handle it, and it's kind of dangerous for people to run double fires in the back, so like a Mawile with Fire Fang, and a Alolan Marowak, a Skeletors, those 3. It's hard to run double of those just because of how many darks and waters there are out there, and rocks. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This team was a lot of fun. Definitely recommend it, and take advantage of the 4x Stardust this week. So like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.